Welcome back to GMA3. Now to a texting scam costing victims billions of dollars worldwide. It commonly starts with an innocent text you may receive from a random person, which can then lead to a longer conversation.
It is frightening to say the least. And at some point, the person on the other end could persuade you into a bogus cryptocurrency scam. And we found people who lost their life savings. ABC senior investigative correspondent Katersky takes a closer look at the crypto con.
If you own a cell phone, chances are you've received a text that seems random, a simple wrong number. It starts with an innocent message like, "Haven't seen you in a while. How are things?" Someone looking to connect. And if you respond, they'll text you frequently, building trust. They live well. They may tell you houses, cars, boats. And if you bring up money, that's when crypto or other investment opportunities come up.
They're 100% masterful. They've thought through all the psychological tips and tricks into how to entice someone to give up their money.
It's a scheme so ruthless, it's known by a horrible name, pig butchering.
To me, it's the concept of consuming that victim from snout to tail, taking everything that victim has, leaving nothing left but the bones.
For Shai Plonsky, a single dad, it was his life savings after a woman he thought he was in a relationship with convinced him to invest in what appeared to be an independent investment site.
So she was basically just kind of inching me, saying, like, if we're going to do this, like, just put a little bit of money in, see what it does for you. I made a decision to essentially put in my life savings.
After a couple of small withdrawals, the scam operation then blocks the investment site, which prevents the ability to pull money out. Shai reported his loss to the FBI and cut off contact with the woman he thought he was in love with. The FBI says losses to investment scams rose from $3 billion in 2022 to $4.5 billion in 2023.
This has led to tragic situations here in the United States.
But the FBI and other agencies investigating this fraud have come to find out there's typically a victim on the other end of the message. Scam compounds run by organized crime groups are cropping up in Southeast Asia, parts of Africa, and South America. ABC News obtained photos of the compounds from the UN, Interpol, and former victims. You're a survivor of a scam compound.
Yes.
This 36-year-old woman we're calling Sarah, she doesn't want to use her real name, believes she was taking a customer service job in Thailand. Instead, she was taken across the border into Myanmar, where she was told she was going to be forced to participate in a scam.
I realized from that moment that, okay, I was being kidnapped.
Sarah was held in Myanmar for 9 months. She took this photo outside the compound before her passport and phone SIM card were confiscated. She had to read from a script to try and engage with strangers via text, build a rapport, and eventually coerce them into investing in crypto. How were you treated in that 9 months?
Very bad, very bad. I used to work for like 20 hours. Sometimes I was not given meal.
She was able to leave when a fellow victim of trafficking who had managed to escape earlier transferred money into Sarah's crypto account to pay her ransom.
Is double-edged. There's two different sets of victims. And it's true that victims on both ends of the strand has really deal with a lot of repercussions.
ABC-owned stations found scam victims nationwide. In Chicago, a woman nearly lost $1 million.
I had nothing left, and I have to sell everything.
And in San Francisco?
They entice you to get more and more money invested until they pulled out my 401.
And in Raleigh?
You feel pretty ashamed of yourself when something like this happens.
The chances of recovering money are slim.
It is a sophisticated, well-armed, well-financed, entrenched operation that really hasn't got much friction against it. And that's the tragedy of all of this.
Aaron is with us right now, and we're talking about billions of dollars lost. Victims on both sides. Is there any recourse?
There's not much recourse, DeMarco. The FBI is getting better at tracing money that's been stolen. Occasionally they can claw back some, but we met victims who lost everything, and the scammers often find a way to stay ahead. As soon as they have money in hand, they find a way to move it around the internet so that it cannot be traced, it cannot be found, and people are out of luck.
There were all types of victims in that story. So how can we protect ourselves?
Well, you want to make sure, according to the FBI, that any investment opportunity is actually legit. You really have to do your homework, verify those opportunities, beware of sites that may impersonate legitimate financial institutions. Don't download anything suspicious, and be cautious of get-rich-quick schemes. And all that sounds fine until you're somebody like Shai Plonsky, who was looking for romance or friendship, thought he had found it, and the woman turns out to just be a figment who's on the other end of a scam.
It's also proof that it can happen to anyone.
Anybody. You saw guys, women, all ages, but it particularly targets people who may be vulnerable. These scammers are trolling dating sites of all kinds, looking for anybody who might fall victim.
ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky, thank you very much. We appreciate it, man.